Okay, it's time for us to go ahead and get started with the Pattern 2 sentence. So just as a quick review, we're going to look at the Pattern 1 sentence, and we're going to recall that the formula was subject, noun, verb, Pattern 1. With the Pattern 2 sentence, we're going to introduce two new concepts, one of which is called the direct object, or the DO. And the definition of a direct object is the direct object receives the action of the verb. And I think the best way to show that is to just do an example. So our example is Mary hit the ball. Always, 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 we are going to start with the subject question first, and then we're going to go on to the verb question. So our subject question is going to be, who hit the ball? And our answer, of course, is Mary. Subject, noun. And our verb question, what is being said about Mary? Mary hit, verb. Now, if we have a direct object, the direct object question is always, always, always going to be the third question, no matter how many words there are in between the verb and the direct object. Always the third question. And the direct object question is the subject, noun, the verb, and then the question word what. So in this particular sentence, it's going to be Mary hit what? And the answer to that question is ball. But before we label this a direct object, we have to do what is called verify the noun. And I'll just tell you right now, this is going to sound silly, and you're not going to want to do it, but I'm going to make you do it. And the way we verify the noun is that we take whatever we identified as our direct object and we ask the question, does that mean the same thing as our subject noun? So in this particular sentence, it's going to be, does ball mean the same thing as Mary? And of course the answer is no. And when the answer is no, that's when you know you're dealing with the direct object. And we label it DO. Now, there is a time when the answer is yes. That time is actually when we learn the Pattern 4 sentence, which is just going to be in a short while. So for now, every time we verify the noun, the answer is going to be no, and then that's when we're going to label a direct object, but we're not going to skip the step of verifying the noun. Okay, and then there's one other thing that we have to do. So after we have labeled this a direct object, we now have to go back and we need to change our verb to what's called a verb transitive, and then we just add a little -t. And a regular verb does not handle direct objects. Verb transitives are actually verbs. Trans means across, and so it's where the action of the verb is actually carried across to the direct object. So if you have a direct object, you absolutely must have a verb transitive. Okay, we keep going towards the period and then we come back, so the only other word we need to classify is the as an article adjective. And this is the way we write the formula. It becomes subject, noun, verb transitive, that goes on the top line, direct object, pattern 2. And now we're going to perform a check. And now when we perform the check, we're going to go back and we're going to make extra sure that we have made hit the verb transitive, because if we haven't, that's a point off. So the check is going to remind us to make sure if we have a direct object, we've made hit a transitive verb. We're going to check again. There are no prepositional phrases. And now we're going to have a period, statement, declarative sentence, go back to the verb. And everything else is exactly the same. So let's go ahead and try a few sentences. Okay, this should coordinate with the handout that you have in front of you. And so we're just going to go right ahead and classify these 3 sentences. All 3 sentences are Pattern 2 sentences. And so of course we're going to start with the subject question. So we have the children drew pictures. Who drew pictures? Children. Subject, noun. What is being said about children? Children drew. Verb. Children drew what? Pictures. Verify the noun. Does pictures mean the same thing as children? Of course not. Pictures, direct object. Drew, verb transitive. The, article adjective. Subject, noun, verb transitive, direct object, pattern 2, check. Drew, verb transitive, check again. No prepositional phrases. Period, statement, declarative sentence, go back to the verb, divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. Is there an adverb exception? No. Natural or inverted order? Natural, no change. Okay, sentence number 2 is pretty much the same sentence, but with a lot more words. So let's go ahead and do sentence number 2. For an hour, the children quietly drew pictures with their new crayons. Who quietly drew pictures with their new crayons? Children. Subject noun. What is being said about children? Children drew. Verb. Children drew what? Pictures. Verify the noun. Does pictures mean the same thing as children? No. Pictures, direct object. Drew, verb transitive. Keep going towards the period with preposition. With what? Crayons, object of the preposition. What kind of crayons? New, adjective. Please make sure that your ADJs look totally different from your ADVs. Whose crayon? Their, possessive, pronoun, adjective. Drew how? Quietly, adverb. The, article, adjective. For, preposition. For what? Our, object of the preposition. An, article, adjective. Subject noun, verb transitive, direct object, pattern 2, check. Drew, verb transitive, check again. For an hour, prepositional phrase. With their new crayons, prepositional phrase. Period, statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb. Separate the complete subject from the complete predicate. Is there an adverb exception? Yes, there is. Cross out the line. Underline twice. Natural or inverted order? Inverted. Underline the predicate words twice. Okay, one last sentence to practice on, and then you can go ahead and complete the homework assignment. Bob keeps his rabbits and chickens in a coop at the back of his house. Who keeps his rabbits and chickens in a coop at the back of his house? Bob. Subject, noun. What is being said about Bob? Bob keeps. Verb. Bob keeps what? Rabbits and chickens. Verify the nouns. Do rabbits and chickens mean the same thing as Bob? Of course not. Rabbits and chickens. Compound, direct object. Compound, direct object. And conjunction. Keeps, verb transitive. Keep going towards the period. In, preposition. In what? Coop. Object of the preposition. At, preposition. At what? Back. Object of the preposition. Of, preposition. Of what? House. Object of the preposition. Whose house? His house. Possessive, pronoun, adjective. The, article, adjective. A, article, adjective. Whose? Rabbits and chickens. His. Possessive, pronoun, adjective. Subject noun, verb transitive, direct object, pattern 2, check. Keeps, verb transitive, check again. In a coop, prepositional phrase. At the back, prepositional phrase. Of his house, prepositional phrase. Period, statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb. Separate the complete subject from the complete predicate. Is there an adverb exception? No. Natural or inverted order? Natural, no change. So in this one you learned that you can indeed have compound direct objects. And we now know 3 noun jobs in a sentence. A noun can be a subject noun, a noun can be an object of the preposition, and a noun can be a direct object. Okay, you are now ready to go off and classify pattern 2 sentences on your own.